I'm back. Rumours of my demise have been somewhat exaggerated. As you can see, the workshop is pretty messy, but we are starting to get there with desks. Actually, the light at the end of the tunnel is approaching. So this happens to be my desk, sitting on the workbench. It's waiting for all the hardware to be installed onto it. So we've got all the what are these connector bolts that need to go in, threaded inserts. Because it is all plywood, it can all be just screwed down, no movement issues there. The standoffs for the hutch need to be attached, and we're pretty close to getting these front panels on too. This one still needs cleanup. Actually, both of them still need cleanup, and then a final coat of finish can go over everything. You can see, unlike the previous panels, this has a combination of just the thin cutout, so that's 0.5 millimeter, and then all the way through. This is going to allow a lot of ventilation for the computers, because they are gaming grade, whatever that means. Computers, high-end hardware, they generate a lot of heat. So that's our solution, while still stopping the cat from sitting on top of my computer and turning it off. So that's getting pretty exciting. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen various bits and pieces I've been working on. I've been quite sick, under the weather, just usual sort of stuff I suffer from for the last week and a half. So combining that with things like CNCing, which is just a router running for a long time, I haven't felt great. But I've started on the next project as well, just playing with it here and there. It's an I-beam, wooden I-beam for the camera stand. So this will provide the horizontal motion, or camera will be mounted on one end, and there are some skate wheels that'll let this slide in and out. So it'll be a combination of Jeremy Schmidt's stuff for his camera stand and Jay Bates's one. Jay Bates' version was probably a little bit easier to make. Jeremy's was much more elegant and pretty, but I don't have that much, what's the right word, care, I guess, particularly for the base. Jeremy's one looks great, but I think I'm going to go just with the bucket approach. You may have noticed a few things moved around. Let's see. The CNC wasn't planned, I mean, it was sent to me. So as a result of that, some of my workshop layout, I didn't really know what to do. So I've moved the combo machine over to there rather than beside the table saw. The sharpening station's been turned around where the vacuum is at the moment, which is that guy. I will be able to put the lathe, because it's currently not in the workshop. The bandsaw is moved out from the outfeed table a little bit and put on an angle. I'm not 100% certain how everything's going to function, but it seems to make sense. We'll see in a few months' time, I guess. The other thing I've worked on a little bit is this miter saw shroud, and this is very much a prototype. And I've got some video of the results, I should say. And it works reasonable. It's taught me a lot about what this miter saw is good at and what makes it work in terms of dust collection. This is the stock shroud that Bosch supply with the saw, and it is neither deep enough or wide enough to actually capture most of the sawdust, or hardly any of it actually. But it gets in the way of the hose when I've got the hose hooked up. So I took that off, and dust collection improved. I need to put a baffle on both sides because this makes a massive difference. With another cutout, I should be able to get that to go around to 45, no problem. So I just need to have a bit of a cutout there, and then maybe like a cover plate or something. I don't know, I haven't figured that out entirely just yet. Before I go, just a few things on the CNC. I had been using easel. I switched to Vectrix Cut 2D, so I had to pay for that. Night and day difference in terms of capability of the software. Easel is incredibly user-friendly, but that user-friendliness sort of translates into lack of functionality. It's a little bit as if Apple was writing CNC software. It's really usable, but you got to do it their particular way. The initial carving for the side panels took about an hour and a half, but Easel told me it'd take about 15 minutes. Cut 2D gave me accurate within 3 minutes or something over the hour and a half for that. But I was able to tweak other settings that I got that down to 45 minutes. I got it down to 55 minutes, then played with it a bit more, could see some more simulation. I switched to just using a spiral down cut bit. This is an 1/8 inch one rather than a 2-stage process. And man, this is nice, very clean. So for these panels, these through holes are all done with a 1/4 inch bit. And you can see that they're quite messy even after a bit of cleanup. Whereas that's straight off the machine for that engraving. So that looks pretty fantastic using just a spiral down cut bit. Obviously it has some downsides, like you can't push it as hard. It's not as good as at dust collection because it pushes the fibers down and everything gets trapped rather than pulling it back up. But yeah, Cut 2D is working out quite well. When I switched to the single bit, because it had accurate simulation, I could see that it would take only 45 minutes to do the panels instead of an hour and 45 minutes. So it would have been great to have that knowledge and tool set at the start, because that would have saved me about 5 hours of machining all up over all the panels, if not more. So Easel has potential. It's not worth me doing another review on the X-Carve for just that, because the X-Carve's not limited to any one particular piece of software. I'm still using Easel as the sender software, but I'll probably look into Universal G-Code platform, which is the new version, which does have the probe support, which is the big thing for me, because the probe makes things so much easier. I do have a couple of CNC projects coming up, mostly dealing with acrylics. My wife's getting into making some jewellery, so that will be interesting. I'm not sure whether I'll post that on the main channel or here. It depends on how people continue to react to CNC stuff. Speaking of the wife and CNC sort of, she's now playing around with some artwork. So just like with the panels of our cat, they're all stuff that she's drawn and they're coming out really nicely. So this needs some sanding and then a final coat. Probably a polyacrylic we'll put on that tonight, but that's, she's going to try and make some wall panels and things like that. So they're quite nice and she's having a lot of fun doing them, which is great. So I don't know, maybe I'll do a video on that down the track. It'll be a very short video, I think, more on the techniques as we learn them. Anyway, for now, that is all. Thanks for watching.